Politics. Today we're going to be going through a U.S. House election prediction. We'll be going through a couple of, well, just the general landscape for the U.S. House as far as the 2026 midterms are concerned. So right off the bat, this map has been looking more and more increasingly favorable for the Democratic Party. Currently, the Democrats sit at 216 seats in the safe, likely, and lean ratings altogether to Republicans 202. So Democrats are definitely in a good position to take back the House, and I do think that this election cycle, this midterm election, will result in a Democratic hold or recapturing of the House. I think the Senate is a little more up in the air. I think that one really could go either way, but as far as the House goes, I think it is looking good for Democrats. There are really very few competitive races. This has happened for a variety of reasons. For one, fewer states have competitive districts just because of partisan gerrymandering, or that's the main reason, but occasionally there'll be others, and that has led to quite a few seats being locked up for one party or another. Gerrymandering has been going on for quite a while, but the latest round kind of started with Texas, where the 5 seats were drawn to favor the Republican, to result in 5 Republican seats being flipped. And then California responded. Governor Newsom responded with Prop 50, and that ultimately passed, which resulted in the state of California drawing 5 congressional districts from Republican to Democrat, resulting in 5 seats flipping for the Democrats. A couple other states had redistricting. Utah was previously a gerrymander, but now has the court-ordered maps drawn, which gave Democrats 1 seat in the safe column in the Salt Lake City area. And then there are a few other. Ohio redrew. That one was less of a gerrymander. And then Missouri did redraw, trying to net more seat for the Republicans. That was kind of a gerrymander. They took the Kansas City there and then area and tried to include a lot of rural Missouri in that district to try and make the district red. But this map gives us a good idea. So 216 seats. Democrats only need to win 2. And there are a couple other interesting maps that we can maybe take a look at to give us an idea of how things are looking for the House. So one of my favorites is the county markets map, which gives definitely a more favorable view to the Democrats. It's showing at 232 seats for Democrats in the safe, likely, lean, and tilt column. This one, there are only 5 really toss-up competitive seats, which is very impressive. It's even a smaller number than the previous map we looked at. But as you can see here, Republicans have quite a few seats in the likely column. I do think that most of these will go to the Republicans, the ones in the likely column. We see quite a few there in Texas. These districts were drawn to be safe Republican, but the fact that they are narrowing up to the likely Republican margin, we see them in the kind of suburbs areas of the major Democratic cities in Texas: Houston, Dallas, Austin, somewhat in San Antonio. But it would be interesting to see if one of those districts, possibly more, ended up actually going to the Democrats, even though it was drawn to be a safe Republican. I don't think that's the most likely situation at the moment, but it would be interesting to see if that ends up being the case. As far as the California districts go, it is looking, I'm not certain which ones are the redrawn ones, mostly the ones there in Northern California, looking like they are locked up in the safe column. However, it is a more favorable environment for Democrats than Republicans, so it is more likely a likely Republican seat would go in the Democrats column than a likely Democratic seat would go in the Republican Party's category. But like I said, 232 seats, definitely a good position for Democrats to be in. Very few competitive seats. But this map definitely shows Democratic momentum, 232 to 198. And virtually every election, when the presidency is controlled by one party, generally the opposition party gains control of Congress, sometimes just the House, sometimes the Senate and the House, sometimes just the Senate. Generally, the House, though, does flip to the party not in control of the executive during the midterms. I don't think that this election in 2026 during these midterms will be any different. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.